Hi there. I built the same house 15 times because I wanted to. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the original plan for this video. The plan for this video originally was to take you through how I got here, why I even started this, and include all the interesting moments. But after I finished recording everything I wanted for episode one of this planned multi part series, which totaled around 40 gigabytes of footage, I realized I recorded everything on the same audio track, and my microphone mixed with the in game music, which I genuinely enjoyed having, essentially ruined the audio quality. So, instead, here I am telling you all of this. But even though this all happened, and it kind of sucks since I had a whole vision for the series, it won't stop me from showcasing what I've built. So let's start. When this world first started, I had zero intentions of making a video at all. In the past, I would always start a 2 week Minecraft phase and essentially just build the same house and do the same things. I always operated under this mindset of others are going to see this, so it has to look good. So I always made a house I knew how to build, one that I was familiar with. But a new problem arose out of this. Because I would always build the same house and do the same things, every world would just become this cookie cutter copy and paste format that removed any creativity or individuality from the world. So this time around, I decided I'm just going to build whatever I want just because I want to. And what came from this is what you're seeing now. But even then, it obviously didn't start like this. Here's some screenshots of the house from when I first finished it. The floor was a design I traditionally never do. And it really only happened because I happened to have a pink and gray sheep nearby. The roof wasn't textured or really given any depth. And the inspiration for this house that subconsciously influenced its design that I later realized was the house from the first episode of Miss Breezy's Newbies Machinima series, specifically the one on screen now. It was just a simple, blocky house with no real depth or complexity. You could essentially just call it a box. But obviously, something in between then and now has changed because this house is clearly something entirely different. Well, during the time I started this world and the time you're seeing this video, Kane Pixels had finished the Backrooms movie and it was all over my TikTok For You page. Which started with me just building the same house on top of itself just because, transformed into this thought of what if the Backrooms was projected into reality instead of being its own confined thing? And that thought would be realized later into the build. Something I will say though is that each of these homes are nearly identical, but none of them are physically connected to each other, barring one so far. So if you want to go into one of them, you actually need to go into the front door of each. I considered in the beginning making this almost like one big mega base where everything was connected so I could properly utilize all of the space, but I decided against it because I thought the idea of repeated, primarily inaccessible houses sounded a lot more cool and more inconvenient. Back on the topics of the back rooms, though, I've not watched the movie yet, nor have I really kept up with the series, but I'm aware of a common theme echoed throughout the verse, and it's that things are infinitely repeated, but sometimes those repeated or copied things are copied incorrectly. So for this house, I thought it'd be cool to treat it like the pacing of it wasn't done properly, but despite there just being blocks of air there, there's still a house built atop, as if there was actually structure there to support it in some way, almost like an invisible wall. I thought that was really cool. In the beginning, though, I'd say that this vertical house was the one that gave me the most issues. I had a really hard time visualizing it in my head and didn't have my happy gas yet, so it was really inconvenient to build. And I even ended up making a creative world where I could test out builds, although I don't really use it that much. Another thing about this build that I really like is how each of the farms have water running from them, which I mean, obviously you want that because the crops wouldn't grow otherwise, but it has this unintended side effect of creating this floating garden-esque vibe from everything. It reminds me of those depictions of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. I realize that some of my descriptions might be a little much, considering how in the end it's nothing like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, but I really enjoy what I built, and I'm not going to downplay the fun I had making this, despite having a few bumps in the road when I need to go take breaks to get more iron so I could continue to shear my sheep. Low key, kind of clenched right now. Um, there's two here. I could destroy one of them. I'm pretty sure. Okay. At this point, I threw on some different shaders, primarily a couple different VHS filters because I thought it would fit the build thematically. But also, all the footage in the background has been using BSL. I took some nice screenshots and even got this one today while I was finishing up recording for the video I planned on making with all of this footage. I've really enjoyed building this, and ideally, by the time it's finished, I think most of this valley will be covered with this house. Even though I said that I don't really use that creative world that frequently, I'm still experimenting with ideas to try and create more focal point variants, I guess, of the house that will try to anchor the eye in certain areas to let you segment it all and really take in each part of it. Kind of like this weird bonsai tree I made out of each of the blocks used in the house. I'll continue recording and hopefully this next time I can make a proper video with no bumps in the road. But if you guys enjoyed this or have any ideas you'd like to share or feedback you'd like to give in regards to what you'd like to see built or how you'd like the video to be formatted, let me know. This isn't anything crazy, and my editing skills are basically as advanced as whatever I can find on YouTube if I need help. This being said, thank you for watching and have a good one.